Duncan, that works. Okay, thanks, Keeshan. You can start letting people in.
Okay. Keeshan, just let me know when I must start. I will do so.
And I think let's all just put ourselves on mute, except Alan.
Alan, you're good to go. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us for our 6th National Day of Health and Safety in the Mining Industry. As Japie Fullard always says, health and safety is the most critical issue in our industry, and it's like a bit like sweeping water up a hill. The minute you relax your focus or rhythm, you have a deterioration in both. So this is a key issue that will come across today from our key speakers. May I provide a very warm welcome to our guests and our key stakeholders in our quest for zero harm. A very warm welcome and thank you again to David Msiza, the Chief Inspector of Mines in the DMRE, and the Chair of the Mine Health and Safety Council for joining us yet again in our day. A very warm welcome to our colleagues in organised labour for joining us. You are critical partners in our journey towards zero harm in health and safety. We are joined by Minerals Council President Nalita Fakude and Japie Fullard, our Chair of our CEO Zero Harm Forum. Without much further ado, I'm going to hand over to Nalita to please deliver her welcoming address.
Thank you very much, Alan, for that introduction, and good morning, colleagues. As we start the session, may I please request that we take a moment of silence and reflection in memory of those who have died since the last meeting we had in 2022. Can we please take that moment, please? May their souls rest in peace. Thank you very much. Chief Inspector of Mines, Mr. David Msiza, and other senior government officials with us this morning, leaders from organized labor, specifically from AMCU, which is the Association of Mine Workers and Construction Union, NUM, the National Union of Mine Workers, as well as Solidarity and UASA, fellow CEOs and company representatives here with us, members of the media, and the Minerals Council colleagues with us this morning, especially Mr. Japie Fullard, who is the chair of the CEO Zero Harm Forum. Good morning once again. Thank you for joining us today for the 6th Annual National Day of Health and Safety in Mining. Next week, Monday, our new CEO, Mr. Mzila Mthenjane, will officially start. I welcome him in advance. The theme for this year is always vigilance, learning, and improving. And this theme tells us to always remain vigilant to protecting the lives and well-being of every one of us at work in our industry. It also reminds us that we can only succeed in this commitment to eliminate fatalities by continuously learning through research and development, as well as from each other to ensure implementation of best practices. When we launched the Khumbule Ekhaya campaign in 2019, and Khumbule Ekhaya, for those who forget, it means remember home. We wanted everyone to think of the human impact of every health and safety decision we make. It challenges us to prevent fatalities and injuries by integrating health and safety into every aspect of our work. And it inspires us to keep improving our performance standards so that every employee can go back home safely to their family and loved ones at the end of the day. We will continue to pursue our Khumbule Ekhaya campaign, and it requires us to focus on three areas: the prevention of fatalities, the integration of health with safety as focal points, and the need for intensified vigilance and effort. And Mr. Japie Fuller will elaborate later on these areas. We are beginning to see the results of this campaign because for the first time in history, even though we have had challenges, we recorded fewer than 50 fatalities in a calendar year. Nonetheless, the Minerals Council still mourns the tragic loss of 49 employees who perished in mine accidents in 2022. We deeply express our sympathies and solidarity to their loved ones and co-workers and recommit ourselves to making further progress. We know that every life lost or harmed is one too many. We know that we still face many safety challenges and that we have a responsibility to our workers, their families, and our society to ensure that mining is not only profitable, but also safe and sustainable. The safety performance of January 2023 gave us hope because for the first time ever, we had a fatality-free month. These milestones are a confirmation that our aspiration to zero fatalities is realistic and achievable. We will be disappointed if 2023 does not see a further reduction in fatalities. Indications in the first 7 months of 2023 suggest that we need to continue to relentlessly implement effective strategies to improve health and safety performance and achieve zero harm. Again, there is a need for tripartite stakeholders to continue to collaboratively work towards the common objective of zero harm, because this is our collective commitment. However, a growing concern is the increase in the fatalities arising from general type of incidents, as well as the regression in the fall of ground safety performance. And that is something we are addressing. I know the CEO or at least the chair of the CEO Zero Harm Forum, Mr. Japie Fuller, will give us more detail as to how we are focused on dealing with this issue and the trends that are coming across. In the occupational health sphere, as much as we are pleased to see continuing reductions in the incidence of most occupational diseases, there are still areas that stubbornly refuse to move for the best. And again, our CEOs are committed to partner and work with everyone to improve this area. Our health and safety work is not limited to the occupational hazards that we have been speaking about for so many years. We are also working tirelessly to eliminate gender discrimination in mining as we continue to seek to increase the presence and representation of women in mining occupations. A critical part of that work is the need to invest significant time and energy in addressing the issues of unconscious bias and change the culture that persists and is pervasive in most of our organizations around bullying, harassment, and victimization, as per the new Department of Labor's codes in support of Convention 190 in prevention of these harms in the workplace. We do that through the Minerals Council's Women in Mining program, which I co-chair with Paul Dunn as the CEO representative. And through the Mine Health and Safety Council's Women in Mining Advisory Committee, we continue to seek best practices on how to implement programs that will improve the women's lives within the workplace. There is still much to be done across the industry to make mining a fully safe and supportive industry where women can not only work but also fully develop and progress in their careers. There must be continued focus on the provision of personal protective equipment designated for women and ensuring that the physical environment in which women employees work in that takes their health and safety needs fully into account. In conclusion, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our regulators, specifically led by the Chief Inspector, Mr. Msiza, for his commitment over the years to not only partner with us, but give guidance and insights on how to improve the safety performance across the industry. Our trade union colleagues for their concerted work with us in assisting to reverse the regression we have seen in recent years. Without the wholehearted cooperation between the social partners, this would simply not have been possible. As we have observed before, though we sometimes find ourselves in conflict on how to do it, when it comes to safety and health, we cooperatively work together because we know exactly what needs to be done because we have a common goal. I thank you all for this morning and wish you a fruitful discussion and a safe day. Thank you. Hand over to Alan.
Thank you very much, Nolita. If I may call on David Msiza as the Chief Inspector of Mines for his address, please.
Good morning, and thank you, Alan, for the opportunity once again for us as a department to address this August occasion. I think I'll start off with the acknowledgements, starting with yourself, Mr. Sekumbi, the Program Director, Mrs. Nolita Fagude, the President of the Minerals Council of South Africa, Mr. Yapi Fulat, the Chairperson of the Minerals Council's Zero Harm Forum, Mr. Mzila Mtenjane, the incoming Minerals Council CEO. We once again like to congratulate him in the new role that he's going to play, and we pledge our support of continuously working together with the Minerals Council through working together with him as well. We also like to commend the role of the outgoing CEO, Obabu Roger Baxter. We've worked very well with Mr. Roger Baxter, and we also thank him for his commitment of ensuring that we achieve that goal of zero harm. And once again, wishing him all the best for his future endeavors. I'd like to also acknowledge the CEOs, executives of the mining sector present here, all organized labor leadership, including from AMCU, NUM, NUMSA, Solidarity, and UASA, who are also here, my colleagues from the department, and also from the Mine Health and Safety Council and the MQA, the media. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again. I'd like to start by sharing the sentiment that we agreed in the sector that we can compete on anything, but not on health and safety. We as a department has been working together with the employers, organized labor, and organized labor to ensure that there is a sustainable improvement in the mining sector. On behalf of the DMRE, we commend the Minerals Council of South Africa for arranging this event, especially in the middle of the Women's Month, an important month in the South African calendar, when all of us will be celebrating contributions of women in the broader society and in mining. And in fact, as Ms. Fagut has indicated, we through the Mine Health and Safety Council, we've come up with programs to ensure that we enhance the health and safety, the security, and also the security of women in mining. And we came up with guidelines that we've also published. We are hopeful that on top of our priorities from today onwards, we'll be focusing on the health and safety of the mine workers and other persons affected by mining activities, as this continues to be of utmost importance for all of us. The National Day of Health and Safety in Mining must continue to provide a platform for learning and allow people to share ideas on improving health and safety in the sector. The health and safety of mine workers remain integral to the long-term sustainability of the mining sector and the key area of concern, which requires a consistent attention by all stakeholders. Working together with the mine employers and organized labor, the department has over the years made significant strides in improving the health and safety of the mine workers. This led to a sustainable downward trend in operational fatalities, injuries, and diseases over the years. It is encouraging that 2022 safety performance reflect the lowest fatalities ever recorded in the sector, as Nolita has indicated, with no mine disaster reported since 2018. Also, the sector reported a decrease in the number of injuries and occupational diseases during the same period when compared to the previous year. Last year, we as a sector also convened through the Mine Health and Safety Tripartite Summit in October to reflect on the performance of the sector and also recommit on our goal of zero harm. And I think we had very encouraging and constructive engagements. The outcomes of the summit are implemented through the Mine Health and Safety Council. The Honorable Minister of Minerals Resources and Energy engaged with leaders from organized labor and employers on the challenges the sector is experiencing. The general consensus was that we need a step change in the health and safety performance of the sector. It is also important for all stakeholders to remain vigilant in the remaining months of 2023 and avoid any issues of complacency. As a department, we will continue to engage with all CEOs, organized labor, leadership, to ensure that more can be done to improve health and safety in our sector. In fact, through the several engagements that we had with the CEOs, we emphasized the importance of us to have a broader understanding of all the factors that ultimately affect health and safety. In fact, I mean, we are in the business of mining, so there's various factors that also affect the work that we do, not only technical related matters, but any other matters is important for us to focus on. One of the things that we've agreed upon is that moving forward, it's important to say, how do we manage any form of change that is happening in the sector? It can be the change brought about by the favorable commodity prices or unfavorable commodity prices, the logistical challenges that we have been experiencing, and any other challenges that we're experiencing, so that we can effectively come up with interventions that will assist us to achieve a goal of zero harm. Well, I'll make examples later on through my discussion. We also commend the Minerals Council as well as the Association of Mine Managers in agreeing to host the MineSafe conference towards the end of this year, where the key areas of concern will be identified and focus on moving forward. All the stakeholders need to commit themselves to working towards the elimination of fatalities, injuries, and diseases in the sector in pursuit of zero harm in the sector. The latest statistics, as Ms. Fabute has indicated, we are currently at 27 fatalities, which for us is regrettable. We thought, as Ms. Fabute indicated, that after we went through a fatal-free January, we'll sustain the improvement. However, it's clear that with health and safety, we cannot say we have arrived. As Alan has indicated, we have to continuously work on, and we'll work together with the sector to ensure that this become a reality, the goal of zero harm. And we also, we believe that the accident that happened where 4 people lost their lives in one of the mining companies also contributed to significantly to the fatality trends. But we've also been engaging, as I've indicated, with all the mining companies to ensure that we have an improvement. Secondly, the sector had a significant increase in the number of force of ground accidents from 2 to 8 so far this year. However, it's worth noting that since the gazetting of the new TMM regulation in December 2022, there's been a significant decrease in the number of transport and mining fatalities from 9 to 3, which corresponds to 67 improvement this year. The general type of accidents are second biggest contributor to fatalities in the sector, as OSIS Nolita has also indicated. It is of great concern. I think it's something that we'll have to further focus on. It is also worth noting that the coal mines did not experience a fall of ground fatality for a year up to date. Ladies and gentlemen, generally, most fall of ground accidents are happening in the gold mines. And we know that Minerals Council has come up with programs to deal with, and I think Ms. Yapi Fulat will also talk more on that. There's also been an increase in the number of seismic-related fall of ground accidents, including in the gold mines. Regrettably, there's been no improvement in the general type of accidents, as I indicated. Lastly, it is also regrettable that in 2023, the sector already reported 3 fatalities, which classified under the category of miscellaneous. I think, as we agreed in the past, it's very important that we focus on the well-being, the total well-being of the mine employee, including focusing on what we call the lifestyle diseases, that is the non-communicable diseases. And we've agreed also through the Mine Health and Safety Council that we must encourage the sector to have a better focus on that. And when we engage with the Minerals Council, we're reassured that also the sector is focusing on this particular matter. And we believe that it will definitely assist us in achieving that goal of zero harm in the sector. Again, there's been a 4% decrease in the number of injuries from 1,273 to 1,225. The areas of concern in this regard include explosives injuries that increased, and also heat exhaustion cases that were also reported, including electricity injuries that were also reported by the sector. Also, it is of great concern that there has been a significant increase of miscellaneous injuries. I think I've touched on this, but it calls upon us to look at the overall well-being of a mine worker. And we believe that once we do that effectively, it will have a huge impact in this regard as well. In the first quarter of April to June this year, the mines reported a total of 257 occupational diseases from the health incident reports submitted when compared to 298 reported during the same period in the year 2022. This corresponds to 20% regression year on year. The areas of concern on health are noise-induced hearing loss cases, which increased from 66 to 122. The chronic obstructive airway diseases, COAD, cases which are also increased from 17 to 22. And silicosis cases from 37 to 45. Once again, I would like to implore the sector to put more focus on the health matters in the sector. The department welcomes the efforts of all stakeholders in ensuring that the goal of zero harm is ultimately achieved at all mines. The collaboration and spirit of genuine partnership stands at the very center of change, and it will not happen without commitment of all partners. It is also critical to maintain and strengthen relationships at mines level to ensure that the vision of zero harm amongst all stakeholders remain closely aligned. And I think this is a point that was also raised at the summit, where the stakeholders felt that the partnership that is happening nationally, in some cases, is not happening in the mine level, especially ensuring that workers and organized labor get full participation on health and safety matters. And we implore once again that let's improve in this regard. The health and safety of mine workers is everyone's responsibility. Working together, we can attain the goal of zero harm in the sector, while also keeping in mind that the long-term sustainability of mining is dependent not only on its growth, competitiveness, and transformation, but also on how well the workforce is treated. In conclusion, I want to strongly recommend that we should ensure that there is a deep understanding in the causes of the health and safety challenges in the sector. This should include how we effectively manage change, as I've indicated, in the sector. And one of the examples that we've normally made when we met with the CEOs and organized labor is that if you see, for instance, this year, most of the fatalities have happened in the gold sector. And the gold sector has performed extremely well last year. And this year, we've seen as a major contributor of fatalities is fall of ground and mainly seismicity, as we've indicated. But now, this also coincides with the favorable gold price. I think at one stage it was hovering around $2,000 per ounce. Now, we aspire to have favorable commodity prices. But I think for us, it's very important on how do we respond to these changes as they definitely happen. Because obviously, if you have favorable commodity prices, you try to optimize on production and to make sure that you improve on the business side of mining. So we believe that we must make sure that we put appropriate interventions to respond to these challenges. We've seen in the other subsectors that the commodity prices are no longer favorable, like in the platinum sector as well. So I think for us, it's very important that as we manage, because one of the things that we do better in the mining sector is to manage the changes as they happen. It will force us to manage the costs that relate to mining, but it's very important that as we do that, we do it in such a way that we don't have a significant impact on the goal that we want to achieve, that is zero harm. Also, we are moving towards the end of the year. You know that towards the end of the year, that's when a significant number of fatalities also take place. We encourage the sector, let's continue working together with all stakeholders, including the state, of doing those campaigns in BISOS. We'll continue supporting those as a department. So once again, I'd like to thank the Minerals Council for continuing making sure that we convene together through the Mine Health and Safety Day to check on how far we've fared in terms of the challenges and what more can we do to improve on those challenges. So thank you. Wishing you all the best. Thank you.
David, thank you very much for your message. Very, very enlightening. And I think underscoring the point that it's only through partnerships and collaboration that we can make a difference. And, you know, I'm truly grateful for the partnerships that we do have. Dear guests, one of the things we're going to highlight in today's session is the fact that our member companies are doing quite remarkable work, and a lot of it's behind the scenes that you don't see. And to highlight some of this work, we're going to be showing you 3 videos. The first one is Impala's new drilling program. So please, behind the scenes, can we have the video started?
I'm Tutula Balfour. I'm the head of health at Minerals Council South Africa. We are super excited, with the outcomes of the Isidingo Rock Drill Challenge.
That was run in 2018, and we learned that there were 3 challenge finalists that we engaged to gain better understanding on the rock drill performance. Pillar 5 of the Force of Ground Elimination of Fatalities Action Plan, or FOGAP, focuses on enabling zero harm production. And the pillar 6 to look into ways in which we can improve production efficiencies so we could reduce cycle time. And that way we ease off time pressures from the teams, and they can focus on implementing control measures to eliminate force of ground fatalities. This is the basis of the Minerals Council's interest in the hydropower drill and the use of rigs and jigs to improve drilling safety.
It is much quieter, it is lighter, and it also vibrates less. Now, these are all very critical for health, in that, if you look at vibration does cause damage to the body. So us having a rock drill which is, producing less vibration is very good for our health.
We were pleased to learn that Impala was currently piloting one of the hydropower drills, and we were encouraged by the performance of the rock drill.
We took this decision to embark on this hydropower due to the struggle we faced with the compressed air shortage on our shaft. Because of mining in the extremities on the boundaries, we were suffering from lots of losses on the compressed air. Then our employees were getting tired, taking long to drill the faces, demoralized and demotivated to come back to work.
The aim is to improve our safety, especially divorcing the driller or the RDO from the face, getting the people out of the red zone, and also making it possible with the ergonomics of the new equipment for women in mining to be trained up to become RDOs, who was in the past identified as just for males.
It used to take us 6 minutes to drill a 1.2 hole. Now it takes us 90 seconds to 220 seconds to drill a hole, which is much more faster.
But most importantly, the reduction in noise. This was the reason why this rock drill, had to be devised. The rock drills that we had were emitting above 109 decibels, which was very, very severely damaging of people's hearing. The industry has a major problem with noise-induced hearing loss, and that noise-induced hearing loss comes because of exposures to excessive noise. So with this rock drill, which now emits up to about 103 decibels, which is a massive drop from 109, and it will mean that we're going to have less noise-induced hearing loss cases.
Compared to the compressed air issue, we haven't had any follow ground with this hydropower machine at Impala 12 shaft since 2022. As well as the morale as we come into these workplaces. The employees have started to fall in love with this, and they're excited to work with this machine.
To be an RDO is dominated on the man, but this one is open for all gender. Actually, I make the career. That's the career for women.
But certainly, we would say that we are really very pleased that we have got this excellent piece of machinery which is going to improve the health of our employees.
Lovely. Sorry, I get quite excited about that. It's through modernization of our industry that we not only make it safer, but we become more inclusive as well, and we bring more people who were previously excluded from the industry into the industry. And if you noticed in that video, all the netting above the working area, it's a key driver in our fall of ground action plan. But before I go on too much, please may I hand over to Japie Fuller, who is the chair of our CEO Zero Harm Forum. Japie.
Good morning, all. Alan, I just want to know if you can see me. Thank you. Chief Inspector of Mines, Mr. David Msiza, and other senior governmental officials, leaders from organized labor, President of the Minerals Council, Ms. Nolita Fukude, Minerals Council office bearers, board members and CEOs, company representatives, members of the media, Minerals Council colleagues, and other guests. I welcome you today to the 6th Annual National Day of Health and Safety Day in mining as we discuss the most important issue in our industry, the health and safety of more than 470,000 employees. This annual day marks a recommitment of our Khumbula Ikhaya health and safety strategy, which we initiated in 2019 and which has delivered significant steps, step changes in safety and health. The purpose of the national commemorative event is to give us time to reflect on the safety and health of mining employees that we are doing, that is making a positive difference, and which area needs more work. Khumbula Ikhaya reminds us to strive for zero harm, ensuring that every one of us return home healthy and safe. As an industry, when stakeholders assess our performance, we must understand and accept that the extent to which we meet our goals of zero harm is the only measure of our performance. To date, unfortunately, 27 of our colleagues have lost their lives compared to 26 in the same period a year ago. So far, as David said already, 1,225 of our colleagues were injured compared to 1,273 a year ago, a 4% decline. As our industry employs more women, we must consider safety statistics for women, who makes about 15% of total mining employees. In this year already to date, 2 women have lost their lives and 133 have been injured. This compared to 2 fatalities and 270 injuries for the full year of 2022. The previous year in 2021, one woman died and 166 were injured. So clearly, this is a major focus for us. And as David also spoke about, and also our president, is that women in mining, we must focus in terms of what we do to make the job easier for them. Through our work to modernize mining, to make it safer, more productive and more inclusive, we are confident we will see further reduction in fatalities amongst our employees. And I think from the previous video, it was quite interesting to see, and I think this was also the first woman that was operating this drill. So it's great to see that even through technology, we can actually make it better. The industry went through a difficult period in February, March, and April, when we reported 18 fatalities after a record performance in January, in which there were no deaths. Our interventions after those terrible 3 months resulted in a sharp drop to 2 fatalities in May and 2 in June. Unfortunately, we have reported 3 fatalities in July and 2 in August so far. I've made 2 direct appeals in recent months to our CEOs, to stage interventions to ensure that we have a safer year than last year. It is, however, critical to understand that these interventions alone will not bring us to a sustainable results. But it's the day-to-day safe practices, procedures and operating philosophies that will instill a culture of safe work and zero harm. This is and remains the responsibilities of CEOs and senior management. Safety starts at the top. This being said, the industry made a significant step change towards our vision and achieving zero fatalities. As our president, Nolita, stated, in 2022, 49 of our colleagues died in fatal incidents on our mines, compared to 74 the previous year. It's the lowest number of fatalities and a welcome return to a steady progress we are making towards achieving our goal after 2 aggressive years, unacceptably and deep disappointingly in safety during 2020 and 2021. At the end of 2021, the Minerals Council Board developed 8 interventions for its members to urgently implement to stop the bleeding and reverse the deterioration in safety. Those interventions bore results showing that safety starts at the top and that the responsibility sits with the CEOs to ensure their operations are safe, as previously stated. This is what we refer to as CEOship. I must mention, however, that, like I said, this interventions and the Stop the Bleeding campaign is only an intervention. And each time we've got a regression, it doesn't mean like the intervention will stop the bleeding. But like I said previously, it's the sustainable focus that we need to have that will make the big difference. We as the industry, through the Minerals Council, are focused on leading causes of fatalities. And this directly speaks to the Chief Inspector of Mines' challenge to us, where he says that we must understand the causes. Our fall of ground action plans, also known as FOGAP, is one example. In 2022, we recorded 6 fatalities related to fall of ground, the lowest number of days in this category, compared to 22 fatalities the year before. And again, like the Chief Inspector of Mines said, currently we're standing on 8 already, which is more than the total of 2022, which is a major concern for us. The number of fall of ground fatalities has fallen to an average of 24 per year in a 5-year period since 2016 to 2022. So that means that the average over those 5 years was 24. Obviously, when we went from 22 down to 6, that was a major step change for us. And that's where we need to be. Actually, we need to be at 0. From an average of 111, just imagine this, 111 fall of ground fatalities in the year since 2021 to 2025. It's a 78% improvement. Since 2029, the key interventions were the implementation of the entry examinations and actively making work areas safe every time it's been entered. In 2012, netting and bolting of tunnel roofs and walls were introduced, and the use of nets has become a common feature in South Africa's deep level mines. And according to the video, you would have seen that the fantastic example of that. Through the fall of ground action plan, which was adopted by the Minerals Council Board and CEO Zero Harm Forum in July 2021, we are bringing additional focus and global best practices in addressing fall of ground to eliminate them as a source of fatalities, once again focusing on the source. We have launched a study into reviewing our seismicity rating and warning system to improve the way we understand and manage seismic risks. We are looking at what systems are being used in South African underground mines, and those also used internationally, with the intention of adopting a global leading best practice to eliminate fatalities from rock bursts caused by seismic events. And I think we had some great results in this. A couple of years ago, ourselves and the department came together when we saw a spike in the seismicity related fatalities, and a lot of technology was introduced, and we did see a drop, but we need to do more. We are working with original equipment manufacturers on collision avoidance systems for moving machineries to eliminate another major source of fatalities and injuries, and this was also highlighted by the Chief Inspector of Mines. This year's theme of always vigilance, learning, improving speaks to exactly what we are doing to eliminate fatalities. By being vigilant and keep an relenting focus on safety, we can make a difference. But it's through learning from each other, from our peers, local and abroad, and continually improving on safety interventions and initiatives that we will achieve our goal in a sustainable way. At the Minerals Council, we hold an hour-long session on the first working day of each month, where our members share their safety experience, learning and interventions, allowing the industry as a whole to adopt best practice and not repeat the mistakes of others in trying fresh ways to make our operations safer. And I can honestly say, being part of this hour of learning every month at the beginning, the amount of brutal honesty that's coming out from our CEOs demonstrates that we want to make this a safer place for our employees. There are many examples of excellence in our industry, demonstrating our members are vigilant, learning and improving. During this course of this event, we will showcase just 3 examples of where our members are doing remarkable work, one which was already shown in the previous video. In these videos, you will also see the successes in our health and safety initiatives. You will see we are #making mining matters. I would like to thank our key stakeholders and partners for being here today. In respect of our health and safety, we have a common goal in achieving zero harm. There's no competition between companies or between our social partners, as indicated by the Chief Inspector of Mines. Today is an excellent example of this. It's only by working constructively together towards our goal that we will make our industry a safe, inclusive workplace. After the following video highlighting the traffic management plan system at Thungela Resources Opencast Colliery, I would like to invite the representatives from our 4 organised labour partners to address us. Then we as the industry, David, takes up the challenge that you have posed on us, and that's to understand the causes of the health and safety issues, driving our 8-point action plans, especially addressing the re-entry of old workings, and also focusing on the year-end strategy in terms of the silly season. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Japie. And just to give our commitment at the Minerals Council that we will develop a full program for our members as we come up to the final 3 months of the year, which, as David points out, is one of our riskiest. Colleagues, before I invite our members or our colleagues from the unions, if we could just take a moment and watch the video from Thungela on their traffic management system. So unlike the previous video, which was underground, this regards open cast mining.
My name is Dushen Naidu. I'm the Minerals Council Mosh Transport and Machinery Principal Specialist, and our mandate is really to look at zero harm for the people in our industry. We've run an initiative that encompasses key things on the operational side, notably traffic management principles. Thungela is one of our leading adopters for traffic management. They've utilized a lot of the principles that we've developed in the Mosh leading practice together with the immersed levels 1 to 9 controls. This has proved very, very beneficial on their operation as they mitigate the risk to such an extent that it doesn't warrant a need for collision prevention system in some instances.
Khwezela Colliery is part of the Thungela operations, and we are located 15 kilometers of Emalahleni. The pit is an infant pit. It has been established 3.5 years ago. Navigation pit is approximately 2.5 kilometers in length. On a day-to-day basis, we're running a fleet size of about 26 heavy equipment. It is also supported by LDVs that goes into the pit, which are light vehicles, and it ranges anything between 30 to about 60 LDVs that needs to gain access into the pit.
Holistically, we then, in conjunction with the leading practice document from the Minerals Council, developed our collision management strategy. This approach focused on 3 main elements. It was a traffic management approach, which also looks at your typical level 1 to 3 controls of your immersed model. It was an organizational systems approach, and this is looking at your level 4 to 6 controls. And thereafter we embarked on an operator support technology strategy. And this is looking at your typical technology controls, such as level 7 to 9. In terms of traffic management controls, if we look at the design and the implementation, things that we did on our sites included the separation of traffic types. In other words, we separated our LDVs, or our light delivery vehicles, from our haul trucks and from vehicles with tire sizes typically larger than 25 diameters. We worked on intersection designs, changing them to T intersections instead of four-way crossings, and we did a lot of work in parking areas, hard parks specifically, where we worked on the flow and the protection of the operator when he or she is getting in or out of their vehicles. There was also a lot of work done on the installation and improving of signage and making sure that we educate our people exactly of where they are allowed to go and which type of vehicle is allowed to operate in those areas. We also did separation in terms of pedestrians, giving them their own walkway and making sure that they are protected when they need to enter certain areas. We are currently in the process of installing operator support technology. This is a tool to help the operator understand his vehicle and understand his behavior inside the cab. These measure critical controls such as the adherence of the wearing of safety belts, speed adhering, the adherence to brake test procedures, and fatigue and distraction monitoring.
We have also achieved a significant milestone in the site, having recorded just over 12,600 fatality-free production shifts.
The level of work that they've implemented and the way they've encompassed the methodology for implementation is very, very noteworthy and is an example for the entire South African mining industry to learn from, to look at, and to also sustain in their own operations. Our desire is really to get the mines to fully adopt the approach, look at what is required on a functional level for the technology implementation, but also look holistically at skills and uplifting skills to install, repair, and maintain these systems. Because the technology implemented is only as good as the support that you provided. And this is key to implementation of any technology.
The Thungela collision management approach is also aligned with our 3-pillar safety strategy, which is getting the basics right, work management, and a culture change. And all of this is aligned with our journey to becoming a fatal-free business.
Oops. Thank you very much. Sorry, finger problems on this. Colleagues, please may I call on our union representatives and our union colleagues. If I may start calling on Gabriel Nkosi from AMCU.
Good morning, Babu Msiza. Good morning to Mineral Council under the leadership of Mamu Nolita Fakute. Greeting to my colleagues from organized labor. And let me safely say all protocol observed. In this month of August, which is the Women's Month, a mother from Butterworth in Eastern Cape, it was reported that she killed her 3 daughters before dying by suicide. Police believe that the motive was poverty. As the South African mining industry, in the journey of embarking to the 4th Industrial Revolution, let us be reminded that whatever action we will be taking, we need to also consider that there is poverty around a community and to the society at large. Whatever action the mining industry is going to take, you should also take into consideration that your action should not increase poverty, but your actions should actually assist the country in eliminating poverty and increasing employment. In 2021, the mining industry registered 371 injuries related to fall of ground. In 2022, the mining industry registered 295 fall of ground related injuries, which was an 80% compared to the previous year, a 20% reduction in 2022 in fall of ground related injuries. That 80% registered, it highlighted to us that there is an urgent need to focus on the controls related to fall of ground accidents. And as a result, we have seen now that there is an increase in fall of ground related fatalities. The industry has registered year to date 8 fatalities related to fall of grounds. And the number of fall of ground related injuries, which is a 3% reduction this year, it highlights the likelihood of a fatal related to fall of ground occurring. What worries us is that there are mines that has adopted good practices with related to fall of ground. And there are mines also which are not willing to adopt good practice with regard to fall of ground prevention. It is a worry to us that we observe repetitives of fall of ground related fatalities, whereas there are good practice which can assist the industry. We call upon the mining industry to adapt good practices. We call upon DMRE to conduct a study with regard to the implementation of good practices so that we can see the results, or either we can learn that what are the benefits of adapting these good practices. The issue of gender-based violence, it's a matter that needs to be part of the Mine Health and Safety Committee agenda, Mine Health and Safety Council agenda at the board. It should be the part of the agenda at the mine levels, at the Mine Health and Safety Committees. This issue of gender-based violence, it needs to be prioritized. We need also to have centers where people can actually freely engage with regard to mental issues. We need to establish centers where people will actually have a trust to these centers to openly discuss about issues affecting them in terms of gender-based violence and other challenges. I wish the mining well as we gonna come closer to the time which we call it
Hi, Gabriel. It appears we've lost your connection. We can give it a minute. Otherwise, we can move on to our next union colleague, if you don't mind. Okay. If I may call on Duncan Lavuno from NUM. Duncan.
Greetings, colleagues. Let me firstly greet the program director, the Minerals Council, PMRE, Mine Qualification Authority, the CEOs of different mines, and our colleagues or my colleagues from organized labor, AMCU, UASA, Solidarity. Colleagues, we as the NUM appreciate the opportunity that we are given to come and speak at this August sitting in August, which is the Women's Month. And we were further becoming happy when we are seeing in the very same month technology such as the one that is implemented at Impala that will be able in the month of women we are celebrating, it will be able to diversify people that can be able to work there, that they will be able to give opportunities to women to go and work as a rock drill operator, which previously was overwhelmed with men because of power and so on and so forth. I think again we appreciate that, and we must celebrate such strides. It's a stride and a direction to a right direction, and also we must be able in the same means to say that echo the sentiments by our colleagues that they've raised to say that the challenge that we are seeing, more especially in our statistics looking in the previous financial year, of the increase in the fatalities of women and also injuries. We're saying ourselves as NUM, we will be part and parcel. We won't be sitting on the side and only talking. We'll be participating. We'll put our shoulder to the wheel collectively to make it a point that, as the other speakers have said, that women, they don't only work in the mines, but they work safely and return home in the mines. I think, again, maybe what we need to look at generally, the statistics, it is worrying the direction that we are headed, which simply means that we need collectively to quickly come around the table and see, because we are seeing the increase now is very alarming, it's very scary. The way we need to pull our socks, because it is our collective effort. And through tripartite and also mining levels, I think we can do more as a collective, because we believe in the collective effort and this tripartitism as well. We further also appreciate that it has been said by the Minerals Council as well that by Ms. Unolita that this is not a paper or a box ticking exercise. However, a platform whereby we'll be able to learn from each other, able to contribute respectfully, as well to chart the way forward and saying that together, what is it that we can do to avoid repeat incidents in other peers or in other minings, because it is not a competition. Also, Mr. Msiza also raised that, which is very important, that we must take note of that. And let's also welcome and also the presentation from where I come from in Mpumalanga, Thungela. I will make a turn and visit there. I haven't visited that collision management strategy that they are pushing, of which we need to learn, all of us, because we can't be having a problem, whereas Thungela is having systems in place which we are able to learn from them. Hence, we are saying that ourselves as NUM or as labor will encourage others to go and visit there, so that every time when we are visiting these tripartite forums or we are visiting each other, we always remind each other and say, remember, Thungela is doing very good in this. Why aren't we learning, or why can't we go and visit Thungela so that we can learn and not reinvent the wheel where the solutions are there for all of us? I was saying that we are recommitting ourselves by coming to this very important meeting. We are recommitting to ourselves that we'll always be part of these very critical stakeholders in making a point that the mining sector, it thrives, it continues to be an employer of choice as well, absorbing, which because it has a potential of absorbing more people than these other industries. Is able to absorb many people. So we're thinking that as the National Union of Mine Workers will always be available. We are availing ourselves. We are committing ourselves. We don't only talk. We're saying we'll be side by side to be part of the solution. And we wish this plenary all the best in the engagement. And we hope that we'll be able to learn from each other and implement. And I thank the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Duncan. Your points are well noted. Colleagues, if I may hand over to Hanni van Vieren from Solidarity.
Now, on the 7th of August, for the year up to date, 27 people has died in the mining industry due to accidents. 2 of those were women. Now think about it. 27 people is a whole classroom full of people. This means we are doing worse this year than last year, with an increase in fatalities, but thankfully a small reduction on injuries. According to the DMRE's figures, rock falls were the main cause in both injuries and fatalities. Less accidents happen, which then means that the impact of the accidents that did happen were more serious than the previous year. We all know that rockfalls can be prevented, and we will have to intensify our investigations and do research to establish the reasons why it increased. But we should not only concentrate on rockfalls, we need to be vigilant about all hazards. In a recent Section 72 report, there were an operator of a continuous miner who was crushed by the continuous miner. One of the causes that was established was fatigue due to the change of night shift to day shift shortly before the accident. Now, determination of the causes of accidents gives us insight in topics that need to be addressed through research, further research, the drafting and review of guidelines and existing guidelines. We do not need to reinvent the wheel. We can learn from other industries with similar situations, such as the medical industry. Shift work forms a big part of how work is done in the medical industry. Going further, we should use the outcomes of the research to develop technologies that can assist us in addressing the causes of accidents. I want to appeal to everyone working in the mining industry to be brave and care for health and safety, not only your own, but the health and safety of each person in the industry. I appeal on behalf of Solidarity that everybody be kind to yourself and your co-workers, kind enough to come to work well rested so that you can concentrate and work safe. Follow all rules on your way to work and during your shift. Respect and regard everybody else's bodily integrity highly, as it will help that women work safe and without any form of harassment. I want to appeal that you be brave, be a leader, care enough to speak up, speak out. If you see anything that needs attention of any sort, give it a voice. Listen to and speak on behalf of those that do not have a voice or do not dare to voice the pain that I have to endure. We are in the last half of 2023, which means that the silly season is fast approaching, a season that is often associated with substance abuse and domestic violence. Be on the lookout for people who may be victims at home or in the workplace and protect and assist them. Let us work together and ensure that every mine worker goes home unharmed every day for the rest of 2023 and remain unharmed for the duration of their lives thereafter. Thank you.
That's a very big thank you to Hamdi for those very wise words. Colleagues, if I may hand over to Chris Smith from UASA. Chris?
Thank you all, Program Director and all protocols, David Msiza from the Department of Minerals and Energy, all those that are CEOs of mines and all my colleagues from other unions. From our side, we like to emphasize again a lost day of a family member, a father, a mother, or anyone else, or a brother, is most serious for us. And we want to emphasize again on arrive safely at home and all those protocols that we have heard during the course of a day, the videos that we have seen. And we cannot more be vigilant in regarding saying we must make sure that the Mine Health and Safety Act, Section 23 applies, where each individual have a right to report and to withdraw whenever there is any danger accomplished towards that. And I'd like to emphasize again what Advocate Dunley has said. The loss that we have up to this stage is more than we can think about what happened in the previous year, that we must at least be careful for the next of a year and emphasize all our members and employees of the mines to make sure that they do arrive home safely at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. I really appreciate that. Colleagues, we're going to be showing our third video now. And if I may hand over to that.
One of the key strategic objectives of the Minerals Council Women in Mining strategy is the elimination of abuse, of harassment, as well as gender-based violence within the sector. It is no secret that the mining sector has been plagued because it is a historically and traditionally male-dominated sector. We at the Minerals Council are committed to addressing this issue not only within the mining sector, but also within the host communities in which our mining member companies operate. And it is through this commitment that we were approached in 2021 by the Office of the Presidency to participate in what they call the 100-Day Challenge. The 100-Day Challenge emanates from the National Strategic Plan on GBVF, which was signed off on by Cabinet in 2018. It is through this partnership that Exxaro put their hand up as one of our member companies to say they wish to be the change that they seek in the world.
And Exxaro has participated in the challenge in collaboration with the Minerals Council of South Africa. In Matla specifically, they have produced a film called Monster in My House. And the film, it is aimed at giving context and insight on the drivers of GBV. And through the film, employees, they have come to an understanding of what GBV is about and what drives it.
And one of the initiatives we picked out was
to run self-defense classes. This is to empower women and to also psychologically arm themselves, to tell themselves that they are important and their safety is important and their lives are important. And if they have the tools in order to enable them to escape those kind of situations, then they are more empowered, even psychologically and mentally. Self-defense does not just start with the physical aspect. It also starts from the mind. Once you realize that you are important, your loved ones are important, and your life is important, then you operate from a completely different mindset. And you feel it within yourself that you are secure and you are able to utilize the tools that you have learned in order to defend yourself.
As Ibandla, it's a male forum that was created in order to enable all male counterparts in the mine to be able to discuss about those sensitive topics that really lead one to become a perpetrator for gender-based violence. So we had the forum, we launched the forum in July 2022. We discussed those sensitive topics, including sexual harassment, financial management, men's health, because those are some of the leading indicators to gender-based violence.
And we're also encouraged by the fact that Exxaro did not limit their efforts to the 100 days, but have gone beyond the 100 days to come up with solutions that will definitely contribute to sustainable mining, will contribute to increased diversity and representation of women in the sector by creating a safe working space.
And what we've seen is a lot more women coming forward to sort of talk about those kind of situations, because it does not carry the shame of, I did not know what to do in that situation, but rather it is almost like a badge of honor to say that I foresaw that this situation was dangerous and I was able to avoid it using these kind of tools. So those are the stories that we talk about and that we continue to share in the different forums within the organization. And we believe that we are creating impact from a preventative perspective and from an empowerment perspective.
Although we understand that even a magnet cannot attract all metals, but we know that the few men that we got on board will be able to disseminate the message to their counterparts, and we will be able to eventually eliminate those cases of gender-based violence in our organization.
And through the film, lives have been changed. Employees are coming forward with issues which can potentially lead to GBV. And that has been the impact of the film.
And it is to this end that we encourage all our members to put their hands up and join in and partner with us, partner with the Office of the Presidency in continuing the legacy of Exxaro by scaling up the efforts that are made within the 100-day challenge.
So here's to creating an empowered female workforce within the mining industry that understand that their safety and their lives are important. Thanks.
Colleagues, I'm sure you're aware, the women in mining and gender-based violence is a very serious issue for the mining industry. You know, our country as a whole is really battling with gender-based violence and femicide, and that's a problem that comes through our gates. So it's wonderful to see what work mining companies can do to address it. May I hand over to our president, Nalita Fakudi, for her closing comments.
Many thanks, Alan and colleagues, for this fruitful engagement this morning. And I really want to thank everyone who has contributed, but more importantly, those behind the scenes participants who have made sure that today has been a success. Just a few comments I would like to make in closing. One, I would like to thank the comments that came from the DMR's Chief Inspector, in particular around the issue of management of change in terms of everything else that we do. Your strong leadership, Mr. Msiza, truly is seen and felt by the organizations that we operate in, and also your leadership and guidance of the Mine Health Safety Council. We thank you for the partnership and the leadership that you provide to the industry. The second group that I would like to thank it's our social partners for their commitment and consistency in making sure that we stay true to our commitment on Khumbula Ikhaya, which talks to making sure that we continue to focus on the goal of zero fatalities. Your partnerships and always really giving us wisdom in terms of how we approach these issues is highly appreciated, and your messages of support and also insight this morning are highly valued. The third group that I would like to thank it's our CEOs from our member companies, because your dedication in making sure that we are on an ongoing basis looking into the mirror and making sure that we learn and understand how best to improve the situation, and also being led strongly by the CEO Zero Harm Forum, which Yapi Fullard is the chair of. We, as he has indicated, we have the monthly learning sessions that continue to help make sure that CEOs to CEO will talk about what in reality is happening, and also have lessons learned brought to the fore so that we can be able to be better and much more focused on what to improve. So the Minerals Council team, particularly led by Sidse and his team and the other colleagues there, it's important that you continue to reach out to members. And I believe that today that has been demonstrated by the 3 case studies that have been showcased this morning, the best practices from Impala, from Thungela and Exxaro. It is really, truly inspiring to see how innovation, how technology, how culture change in what we do and how we behave across around the issue of safety in the workplace is being taken seriously. And the case studies that we have showcased today will also encourage all of us to look at how best we can also improve in our own organizations. I would lastly want to say that with the checkered response that we see that's coming through on safety, that we do not forget the issue around health, especially occupational health. We have to be obsessive in how we monitor and report on occupational health issues. And we know that with the COVID situation, probably we were not as close in reporting as we should have been. And I think we need to be much more dedicated in reporting these incidents, because now we are beginning to see again a spike in terms of incidents of noise-induced hearing loss. And this is concerning for us, and it needs special attention. And for us to be able to intervene and make sure that member companies are doing the right things, also reporting is important. And therefore, this is an area that, as I say, we need to become obsessive around in terms of monitoring and also reporting. Lastly, colleagues, to everyone, I really want to thank you for your partnership, your collaboration, and your always being unstinting in being part of these engagements. It's a pity that we do not meet in person, but it's good that even in this particular webinar and conversation, we continue to pass on the messages that safety for all of us, always based on the theme, it's about vigilance, it's about learning, and also improving what we do and how we do it within the mining environment. We have to continue to be humble with all the safety milestones that we see, which encourage us to do better, and at the same time know that there is still more to be done. I do wish you well for today and the months ahead as we continue to focus this year to make sure that we end the year strong when it comes to safety within the mining sector. Thank you very much and have a good day ahead. Over to you, Alan. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Nolita, and a great summary of today's events. Colleagues, just a few housekeeping notes before we say goodbye. The presentations and the videos will be on the Minerals Council website. If you want them sent directly to yourselves, please reach out. We're very happy to do so. And for the media, there is no Q&A after this. Please do drop me an email or give me a phone call. Happy to assist with any queries you might have. A media statement will be coming up shortly, incorporating all the presentations we've had today. But the keynote speakers' addresses will be on our website. And to echo Nolita, thank you very much for all our key stakeholders and your participation, and thanks very much for keeping us on track with time. As a program director, I tell you, sweat runs down the side of your face when it comes to that. But colleagues, may I wish you a very healthy and safe day going forward and a very happy end to the year. Thanks, everyone.